Let's talk about masculine women. It's an oxymoron. Women are not, quote unquote, masculine. They're not strong. They're not brave. They're not warriors. All of those words are ascribed to men. What you find that in psychology, when a woman says stuff like that, or that she's a strong, independent black woman, what she's actually telling you is that she's been through trauma. And not only that she's been through trauma, but she did not have a healthy network and support system to fall back on to help her work through that trauma. In short, she comes from a single mother household. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Among other things, I have a psychology degree. When you have trauma and you do not have a proper network to fall back on to nurture you back to health, to support you back to normal behavior, you have to figure it out on your own. And for women, their only example of how to handle trauma are men, because men deal with trauma every day. I know nobody wants to admit that, but men handle trauma every day. And if they're not in a single mother household, they deal with the trauma in a healthy way. It does make them stronger, more vibrant, more focused, because that is what the feedback from their father and mother is. You're okay. Everything's going to be all right. Let's move on from there. Yes, talk about it. How did that make you feel? Okay, now let's do something to channel those negative feelings. Work out, go jogging, pick up a sport, pick up a hobby, right? In a regular two-parent household, you do have hobbies. I said that for you to recognize when you have a girlfriend and she said, "How dare you play video games?" She comes from a toxic household where you do not have leisure time to have hobbies. That's the point. It's not that girls are against video games. It's girls from a toxic household who didn't have money, didn't have leisure time, are against hobbies. They don't understand it. How can you spend your time doing something other than working and making money? Because that is their mindset. Because they don't have leisure time. They don't come from that. I would recommend that if you meet a girl and she's like that, that you get rid of the girl. She is toxic. She comes from a toxic family. You are not going to change her. I'm here to tell you, masculine women, you're not going to change them. A woman who says, "Well," and she starts arguing with you, she comes from a toxic household. She comes from a single mother household who has told her that that's okay. That's the example that she has seen, that her mother argues with her boyfriends or whatever, her one-night stands. And she feels that that is okay. That is not okay. That is not okay for you as a man. She embarrasses you in public. Get rid of that. Get rid of that immediately. You know what? We're done. This is over. Whatever this is, it's over. She is dealing with some mental problems and she doesn't have a healthy mental mindset, and you are not equipped to handle it and deal with it. Tell you what, I'm not equipped to handle it and deal with it. I refuse to handle it and deal with it. She is not paying me. Is she going to pay me $120 an hour to handle it and deal with it? No, she's not. She needs to go somewhere else with somebody else and handle that. And here's the kicker. Here is the absolute most horrible thing. You have psychologists who are coming from that same situation themselves. So the traumatized woman goes to a psychologist, and a psychologist thinks it's okay to backtalk a man, embarrass a man, call a man homosexual and all that sort of stuff. The psychologist thinks that's okay. So then, where does that leave you as the man? You need to completely leave that situation immediately. And even worse, to add insult to injury, now you have quote unquote therapists. Therapists who don't have anybody's license. Come over to my house for therapy. Oh, girl, that's terrible. You are totally right. How did you handle that? Oh, okay, girl, you go, girl. Therapist. And for women to then tell you, you need therapy. Oh, please, show me this therapist that you go to. Oh, that's who you went to? Where's their license? We're not going to go into all of that sort of detail. You're not going to go into that sort of detail? Are you going to ask the surgeon for his license? You're not going to worry about that part? So how is a surgeon different from a therapist who's messing around with your brain? No? That's not important to ask those questions. Anytime a woman, without any sort of network to follow up on, deals with trauma, she's going to come out masculine. Because her example of how to handle that, it comes from men. Why? Because men handle trauma every day. Every day at work. All day, 8 to 12 hours a day. That's what they do. That's what we do. And in this day and age of let's shack up together, for those of you who don't know, the idea of living with a woman who you're not married to is considered a high sin. Because what happens when you break up with this woman? Now this woman is going to go shack up with another man. Did you recall the scripture where Jesus meets the prostitute at the well and he says, "Where's your husband?" And she says, "I don't have a husband." And he says, "Oh, no, you have many husbands." Did you not understand what he was talking about? That's 2,000 years ago, right? Allegedly. 2,000 years ago. You think this is all new? This is not all new. But I'm here to bring you some good news. And I'm not talking about the good news of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm talking about that there is an entire section of people in the United States who don't shack up with people, who don't sleep around, who don't have quote unquote multiple husbands, meaning they went and lived with a guy for months or years, and then they went with another guy for months and years, then they went with another guy, and so on and so on. There are people who still, parents get together and say, "You know what? My boy is in the market for a wife. We hear you all have a daughter. Why, certainly we have a daughter, and she would make somebody a fantastic wife. Let's get them together." Let me talk about that for a second. That used to be the case. So it used to be the extended family would say, "We want to be aligned with the Johnsons. Okay, let us search within our family tree for an eligible boy and their tree for an eligible girl. Okay, we found both of them. Now we're all going to come together and they're going to have a wedding and they're going to live happily ever after, and our two families will be joined." Then that got dialed down to the parents, just the parents, not extended family. Same thing. We want to be aligned with the Johnsons. Okay, I got a girl, you got a boy. Let's get together because you're marrying the other family. You're still today. You're still marrying the other family. That's the whole point of it. Although Disney and the media has convinced you that no, it's all about just you two. Okay, and then that got pushed down to Friends. Oh, I know a guy who would be fantastic for you, girl. Okay. And then it came to you, the girl, and you walking around and the guys hit on you all day. And then finally you go, oh, well, he's cute. Let's get with him. Then, hold on, it gets worse. Not only that's when the divorce rate started creeping up, because the girl is the one who then figured out that she's the one deciding which, but in the meantime, they had the sexual revolution, so she kind of slept around with everybody. And then that doesn't work out because you lose the ability to pair bond. That means you lose the ability to actually love the person that you're with. Although you've been told that marriage should be about love, which it has never been, but only in the last something like 400 years, they've started bringing up this, love. When love was about, I love my mother, I love my father, I love my brother, I love my sister, I love my uncles, I love my grandparents. That's love. It is something that will never go away. Then they try to dilute that concept of love and bring it into a stranger loving another stranger without the market force of the families coming together and forming a bond together, and through your children having that bond be permanent. That's all gone. That's all history. Then they said, it's about love. You should get married for love. But you don't have love of strangers. And then once you start sleeping around with multiple strangers, you lose the ability to even pair bond with the person that you're with. Because the 20 other guys did it differently. And when I say did it differently, I mean everything. Oh, this guy took me out to dinner. This guy took me on trips. This guy took me to the parks. This guy was sweet. This guy was cute. Comparison is the thief of joy. I already did that video, right? So you're comparing the current guy to the 50, 100, 200 other guys that you're with. You are incapable then of actually loving the guy that you're with. Then all hell broke loose, and then we have the dating apps. Don't listen to your parents. That's old-fashioned. Don't listen to your friends. They don't know what they're talking about. Swipe left and right on your own. And you have your own money, so now you can pay for everything. The bad thing is that only 10% of the people on the dating app are actually women. So then the 90% of guys on the dating app are coming after that 10% population, and that's how you end up with a online dating world that is just horrible. And then you have women who just take advantage of the situation where they get to eat for free lunch and dinner every day because they want to be Elizabethan women with no job and no money themselves and pretend like they're walking around with neck-high dresses and all the way down to covering their ankles because they're ladies. You're not a lady. You've been with 200 guys. You're not a lady. And you have a lot of money. A lot of money. You have more money than the guy that you're trying to date. You have more money but they want to keep harping on the news that, women don't make that much money. Yes, under the age of 35, women make more money than their counterparts. All the under 35 men, you make more money. Not only do you make more money, you are more likely, something like 9 times out of 10, to become the CEO of the company because that is a push. Then they even have signed it into law. You have money, but you want to treat the man like he's a traditional man when you're not a traditional one. You are not a virgin. You have your own money. For all intents and purposes, you are a man. And we come full circle. You're masculine. Well, I had to do all this because we live in 2025. That would be true if 100% of the women were in that situation, but they're not. What did I tell you? There's a whole other segment of the population where the men and women are still traditional, all the way to the point where the families are getting them together and they're getting married, having children, and living happily ever after. And they don't have social media. They don't have 5,000 men in their DMs telling them how beautiful they are. And here's what's really sad is the forces that are behind you telling each other, you go, girl, you can do whatever you want to, girl, are lesbians. They want to divorce you from men completely. I want you to go ahead and analyze all of that stuff. Why is it you see a picture of a guy and a girl holding hands walking around in public and you go, ew, that's creepy. Where is that energy coming from? It's coming from lesbians who have told you to react that way. Oh, this guy came up to me and asked me for my number and he was ugly. You're a 2. You're ugly too. The energy that's coming from is from lesbians who want you to reject men so they can get you. I would never do that. Oh, really? Because I, as an investigative reporter, hear that tune every other day. One thing led to another, and we were in the club kissing. Guess who that doesn't happen to? Middle America, where they're just the flyover country, in the Arkansas and the Wyoming and the other stuff outside of the major cities, right? In the small towns, and they don't have social media. Brad is so cute and he works on that farm. I think I'm going to go be a farm wife. Yes, that happens every day. I'm gonna go be an Amish wife. Yes, that happens every day. And guess what? They're millionaires. While you're chasing the 6-figure guy who you all live in a big major city where 6 figures doesn't buy anything and he needs a roommate, but you've got your heart set on a 6-figure guy, or worse, he needs to make $500,000 to date me. To date you, he needs $500 to date you. Why? Why does he need that? Because the lesbian has told you this is the bare minimum, which means you're rejecting 99.99% of men. With all of that rejection, who are you actually accepting? Because when you try and go get that $500 million man, guess what he's going to say? Oh, are you even human? You're the size of a house. No, I don't want your number. I don't want anything to do with you. I have an entire team of women clamoring for my attention. I make $500,000 a year. I live in a mansion. Why on earth would I? And you have a child too? Come on. Get real. I would never. You all rejected Kevin Samuels. But he was telling you everything that you needed to know. He was telling you exactly what you needed to know. I think I'm a 10. No, you're not a 10. You're not a 10. But you rejected that. Why did you reject that? Because the lesbians told you you were a 10. Oh, you're a 10, girl. You go for it, girl. Yeah, reject that guy. He's doing the bare minimum. And all of the women giving you this advice about what you could and should do, they're all single. They've never been married. Or worse, they have their own kid because they made poor life decisions. But I'm here to tell you there's a whole other section of people who do their own thing and they're living happily ever. Who do you think that 50% success rate in marriage is? They keep talking about marriages of 50-50. Okay. And when they start looking at the stats, they say the woman who does this is going to get divorced. The woman who does this is going to get divorced. The woman who makes this much money is going to get divorced. So if all of these stats are piling up, they're saying these are the women who are going to get divorced. Who are the women who are not going to get divorced? Guess who there are? Religious, from a small town, from a 2-parent household, whose parents have a loving relationship, who has a loving relationship with their parents. Maybe not. They have brothers and sisters that they have a loving relationship with, and they have a network to fall back on. They don't have social media. They enjoy stuff like cooking and cleaning and raising their nieces and nephew. And raising somebody else's grandkids, babysitting, doing the washing and hanging the clothes out on the clothesline. And the girl came out on, I believe it was Facebook, and she said, I just can't wait to be married. And my husband comes home with his dirty clothes, and I strip him of his dirty clothes and wash all his dirty clothes and make him a nice home-cooked meal and curl up with him at night to watch TV with him. And then the next morning, wake up early and make his lunch, make him his breakfast. I just can't wait. And all the city girls came after that girl and said, how dare you say that? You don't want that. Huh? Are you not for women? You don't applaud. You don't believe all women? You don't applaud all women? You've become the very man that you said that you want. And unfortunately, what did Wall Street said? 50% of you all are going to be single and childless in 5 years. And I then saw another stat that said, from 1980, 1% of the female population is increasingly going to be single. From 1980 all the way up until now. So now we're creeping up on 50% in 5 more years. Thank you all for watching.